think most of us already know, deep down, what makes life meaningful. But modern life has a way of distracting us from what matters most. It's all over the internet. Secrets to a better life. You need to eat more protein, homeschool your kids, don't homeschool your kids, become a minimalist, travel more, slow down, hustle harder, buy less, experience more. And after a while, the advice starts to feel overwhelming. I think one of the hardest parts of modern life is that as soon as you open your phone, you're shown alternate ways of living. As soon as you open your phone, you see somebody else's house, somebody else's routine, somebody else's parenting style, their diet, their schedule. All of these alternate versions of life start to make you question your own life. And after a while, it creates this low-level feeling like your life is actually somehow inadequate. I've been a mom for over 15 years now, and honestly, the hardest part has not been the actual work itself. It's been trying to sort through the noise as to what actually matters most. But over the years, I've started to realize something. A rich and beautiful life has a lot less to do with a perfect lifestyle and a lot more to do with staying connected to Jesus Christ. I remember as a young mom, we lived in an old, small house with secondhand furniture, and my kids wore clothes that I got from my sister. But somehow our life still felt full and beautiful. We played outside with neighbors and friends, and we watched the sun shine through the leaves of the big tree out front. I still remember those little toes propped up on laundry baskets, or the naughty little giggle my girls would have when they were doing something bad. I remember warm, long summer days where we would spend hours outside in my neighbor's tiny front yard. Then we moved to a rental house, 1,000 miles away from everything that we knew. And we ended up renting for 5 years, which is really hard when you don't know where you're going to land. It felt temporary all the time, like we were waiting for our real life to begin. But God blessed us, even though we were living in a tent, as it seems. My husband and I, we started to get into a date night rhythm. And the kids found so much joy in something so simple like a sandbox and mud. We started building relationships with the people that God had placed in our life. Looking back now, I realized it didn't really matter where we lived and that we were still having a great life. I spent a lot of years thinking that meaning was something that was going to happen in the future. Once we bought a house, once we felt stable, once the kids got older, once things started to slow down. And if you're always waiting for the perfect season to start appreciating your life, you're going to miss the life that you already have. Then we finally got to live out our dream of living in the country. And as it turns out, our house was infested with termites. And it's been one long, big, exhausting, never-ending remodeling project. Some days it feels like the projects will never end. But even through all of the unsettledness, God has been there, helping me to look past the mess and see what we already have. The trees still bloom, even if you don't have sheetrock on your walls. And it's hard not to feel close to God when you're walking along a frozen creek, or witnessing an incredible sunset along a country road. Sometimes I think we overlook the holiest parts of our life because they're so ordinary. Standing at the sink doing dishes when your daughter says, "I'm sorry." Seeing the moon and the stars when you have to get up at an ungodly hour to take one of your kids somewhere. Hearing your teenage girls laughing with each other in their room when it's late. Waiting to get a hug from your kids as they come off the bus. These moments seem small, but they make up your life. You don't need to become a minimalist or travel the globe to experience a good and beautiful life. As it turns out, you may already be living in the life that you've been longing for. What do you see right outside the edges of your screen? Maybe it's a pile of laundry, reminding you that you have people that you get to care for. Maybe a text just popped up from your husband, reminding you that you have a relationship with someone who cares about you. Maybe you're sitting in a car that runs, or you're looking out the window and you see the beautiful sunshine filling everything. We've really overcomplicated things, haven't we? And the more I read the words of Jesus, the more I realize how simple he actually makes it. He said, "This is life eternal, that they might know God and Jesus, whom you have sent." And how do you know God? He says in the scriptures, "Be still and know that I am God." Sometimes I really do feel like I'm seeing through a fog. It says in 1 Corinthians that right now we see through a glass darkly. It's confusing and hard to discern what is best. But partnering with our brother Jesus Christ clears up that fog and helps us focus on what's important. So maybe you don't need a complete overhaul of your life. Maybe you just need a little different way of seeing the things you already have. It's slow living even when your world is going fast. Because that is definitely my life right now. We have 5 kids, 1 in high school, 2 in middle school, and 2 in elementary school. We always have something going on. Someone needs help with their homework. Somebody forgot something. You need to feed everybody. You need to get somebody to practice. The days move really quickly. But I don't think peace only exists in quiet seasons of life. I think you can cultivate a calm and grounded heart even in busy seasons. I don't think most of us want lives filled with noise and distraction. I think we're just tired. And when you're tired, it's easier to scroll than to sit quietly with your thoughts. Easier to consume than reflect. Easier to rush than be still. But slowly, I think we can learn another way. It's making small, simple changes in your modern life. Making time for deep, connected prayer. To pour your heart out to somebody who really understands you. Spending time in scripture. Learning about the man who spent his life getting people out of really tough scrapes. It's going on walks just to sort out your thoughts. Spending time outside just to get away from the chaos of screens. Making time to connect with your spouse and your kids so your home feels connected instead of arguing all the time. It can feel hard to make space for all of those things, but honestly, I think modern life has convinced us that we don't have time for things that humans have needed all along. But I feel this pull moving me towards the things that really matters. Do you feel that too? Less distraction, more stillness, being grounded in real life, towards God, towards the kind of life that feels rich even when it's ordinary. God calls this the abundant life. I'm on a journey trying to figure out how to live this abundant life. Follow along and let's piece it together, you and me. If the message in this video resonated with you, check out some of my other videos to see what I've already been working on. And I don't want this to be one-sided. I want to hear what you have found that has made your life more meaningful. I really appreciate you being here, and I hope to see you in the next one.